Kim Worker, and this is my new video series called Ask Me Anything, which is pretty self-explanatory. People just like you write in and ask me anything, and I take to video to answer as many questions as I can. The first question is from Laura, who's a lefty and wants to know if there are tried and true tips for lefties to follow conventional crochet patterns. So here's the deal. The sad truth of the matter is that most instructions, tutorials, and the like for crochet are done by right-handed people for right-handed people. Sorry, lefties, you're often left out. But the good news is that there's usually very little you need to do to convert a pattern to follow as a lefty. So let me kind of roll back a little bit and explain a bit about crochet. Right-handed crocheters crochet rows from right to left and in rounds in a counterclockwise direction. Lefties simply go in the opposite direction. So you can crochet left-handed without having to do anything different. You'll just make your fabric in the reverse direction than righties do. Lefties don't have to do anything different. You can simply crochet with your hook in your left hand, your yarn in your right hand, and go to town. Now that said, there are some adjustments you might need to make to patterns. Most patterns don't make any reference at all to directionality. This is different from knitting. Often in knitting, designers will refer to the left-hand needle or the right-hand needle. And if you're a lefty, it can be a total mind trick to transpose what the right-hand dominant patterns tell you to do. But in crochet, that very rarely happens. So most text crochet patterns don't need to be converted for lefties at all. You just follow it as it's written. The tricky part, however, comes in if there's any colorwork design or charts to follow that involve directionality. So a lot of colorwork patterns are actually like geometric patterns that are symmetrical. So it doesn't matter if, as a lefty, you follow them in the opposite direction as a righty would. You'll still come up with the same symmetrical geometric design. But if there is some writing involved, if you're following a chart that will result in words, or in like a map or something where the direction matters, you are going to have to flip that chart around in order to follow it in a way that produces the correct directionality in your crochet. The part where it does get tricky for a lefty is in symbol diagrams. Now, I love symbol diagrams because there's a one-to-one relationship between the symbols in the diagram and the stitches that you make. And so you don't need any words at all to follow a symbol diagram. But the thing is that the symbol diagrams are pretty much universally drawn for right-handed crocheters. So rows depicted in a symbol diagram will be followed from kind of the bottom right to left and then kind of going from there. So a lefty would be starting from the bottom left, and the chart won't show that. Now the thing is, you could kind of work the mental exercise to transpose that symbol diagram, or you could simply scan or take a photo of the diagram and use simple image editing software to horizontally flip it. That's the menu item you're going to want to look for. And it's often under the transform kind of category in your menu of the image editing software. Go to transform and then flip horizontally and boom, you get a mirror image of the symbol diagram. This is also relevant to symbol diagrams in the round. So if you're making a hat or a mandala or granny square motifs or something like that, any kind of motif that are often worked in the round, the symbol diagram will show the stitches progressing in a counterclockwise manner, which is how righties crochet. I actually find it not super hard to kind of mentally transpose it because the only difference is the direction you're approaching from when you join the end of the round to the beginning. When you're a lefty, you'll be approaching from a clockwise direction, and the symbol diagram will be written approaching from a counterclockwise direction. But that's a pretty easy fix. That said, you can still do the same image manipulation for a round symbol pattern as you do for one in rows. So to sum up, the good news is that lefties don't have to do too much mental gymnastics to make most crochet patterns work for them. There may be nothing to change at all. Symbol diagrams may be a bit tricky, but they're pretty easy these days to flip around and manipulate so that they're easier for you to follow. One more tip. Crochet designer June Gilbank of Planet June, she designs really adorable amigurumi and stuffed animal patterns. She has a whole library of tutorials, both photo tutorials and video tutorials on her website, and most are offered both for lefties and for righties. You can find some great resources at planetjune.com. Ask Me Anything is a video series where I answer your questions about anything. You can submit your question at kimworker.com/AMA. And if you really like this series, you can help support my ability to keep creating it by becoming a patron at patreon.com/kpworker. Till next time.